Hey everyone, it's Types, and today I'm going to be going over some more Pokemon and each of their best cards. Today we're looking at Gen 6, the legendary Pokemon, or Mythicals. I really don't know the difference. If we get to like 7, I guess we'll be doing like Ultra Beasts. I really haven't thought this through, and I really don't know the categories of Pokemon very well. So, yeah, let's just hop into it. Also, there are not a ton of legendaries for Gen 6, but they're pretty good because they're newer. First of all, we got Xerneas. I guess this one's not amazing, but it's certainly arguably the best fairy Pokemon. Fairy is obviously not a very good type in GLC, as well, there aren't a lot of fairy cards in general. Let's just start with the Psychic Xerneas, which is alright. It's not amazing. It's a card I actually like, but it's a bit of a control-y card, and it has a usable attack. It's not a great one, but I could certainly see getting use out of it. The first Fairy Xerneas, on the other hand, here, though, is a very solid card. You have lead and a attack, allowing you to search for a supporter, which is a very decent setup attack. The other Xerneas actually also has a setup attack, arguably a better one, accelerating fairy energy. But then the first Xerneas here has Bright Horns 130 for 3, and then you can't use Bright Horns next turn, which is pretty solid. Nothing like broken, but it's not a bad attack by any means. And then the other one hits 100 for 3, and you discard an energy, which is a little worse, but it's not that much worse. Overall, Xerneas is a pretty decent Pokemon. It kind of defines the fairy type, as it's arguably the best fairy type. But yeah, let's move on to Yveltal, the other side of this, which is also pretty good. There are 3 interesting Yveltals here. The one all the way to the right is the one that is similar to the Xerneas, where they both accelerate energy, hit 100. They're okay. I feel like this Yveltal is alright, but it's not the best. But if you're looking for like a standard attacking Yveltal, it does the job. The one all the way to the left is the most played one. It has Fear Tree, which is pretty nice, but then you also have Derail, removing a special energy, and Clutch, stopping retreating, 2 moderately disruptive attacks, and they have okay damage. Not great, but when paired with the disruption, they're certainly enough. And then in the middle, you have another interesting Yveltal. This one is commonly played in Standard because it allows you to remove special energy from your opponent's Pokemon in play to a better extent than the one on the left, but doesn't do damage and requires multiple energy. Dark Feather also hits 100, which isn't awful. And then we also see that you don't see it, but there's an amazing rare. Would I recommend you play it? No. It's something that one-shots for 5 energy, 2 of which are not dark, so it's very awkward, but that is technically an option. Next up is Zygarde. Zygarde is good, and as with when I was going through Gen 3, which hopefully is posted, if not, that'll be the next one, then you have you have multiple types for these Pokemon. As with Xerneas also had multiple types, but that was due to a type change. You get the idea, though. I want to include one of each type. And then Zygarde here has 2 decent cards. The one on the right from Vivid Voltage, the fighting one, 150 HP is very solid. And then you hit 160 if you're down on prizes, or even just 80 for 3, which isn't garbage. But 160 for 3 is very strong. This is a very solid fighting Pokemon and one of the best heavy hitters in the format. On the other side, we have the Dragon one, which might be better. It hits for Grass Fighting Kalos, 40 snipe to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize that your opponent has taken. This means that it's another style comeback card, able of sniping up to 200 to 1 Pokemon, which is very good. Overall, this is another one of my favorite cards in the format because it allows for such big snipe damage. Next up, we have Diancie, and there are 2 Diancies. The one on the right is another fairy card. Unsurprisingly, the generation that introduced fairy Pokemon has a bunch of them, or a few. But this Diancie here is pretty good because it allows you to evolve one of your Pokemon in play. This is done through its attack, and it's decent at it. It's a bit of a hot topic right now because Fossil Research Lab just got banned, and Team Evolution is I don't know. It looks like kind of strangely, as it might be too good or go against the spirit of the game, according to Andrew Mahone. So instead, we see Diancie, which is a similar thing. It's weaker, but it actually saw play in Standard and it won a World Championship, so it's certainly a decent card. On the other hand, though, we have a much more normal Diancie that takes less damage, it like reduces damage to all your Pokemon if it's in the active, and it also has its attack that does 50 for 3, but 120 if you played a supporter, which obviously you'd like to. It's just a very solid overall Pokemon. Next up for Dark type or for Hoopa, which is Dark or Psychic, we have two very solid cards. The one on the right here is the Hoopa, the Psychic Hoopa, which is a themed Pokemon. 20 to 2 year opponent's Pokemon, which is it's all right. It's some mediocre spread. Then Portal Strike 130 for 3 is very solid. Putting Hoopa as in my opinion, one of my favorite Pokemon in the format. It is like a generic normal attacker as it hits a decent amount of spread and also hits big damage. We also have the Dark Hoopa. This Dark Hoopa is very, very good. It swings in and hits 90 for only 1 energy. That's going to be paired with a very, very good Zoroark. And in the end, you can just end up with a very solid combo between the two. You send up Zoroark, switch it back out into Hoopa, hit 90 for only 1, and it doesn't hit weakness, but it's very, very strong. And lastly, is this last one? It is, yeah, okay. I don't know the Pokédex too well. This in Pokédex order, and I'm a TCG player, not a Viridian player. But we see Volcanion here, and this again we have a Shining Pokemon, which Shining Volcanion, which is better than the regular Volcanion, the Water Volcanion, which is bad. Shining Volcanion here is very solid though. For 3 water, it does 50 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, which is just a decent amount of spread. Not amazing, but it's like a weaker Radiant Greninja, which is good enough sometimes. And then we see the Fire Volcanion, which is very strong. This attack Fire Starter sets up your Pokemon if you go second is your first turn, so it does that very well. But then you also have High Heat Blast, which does 110 if you have 4 Fire Energy in play, which is not that hard to do. Overall, it's a very solid Pokemon. Again, another one that's not playing standard here. But overall, I'm interested in hearing what your thoughts are on these Pokemon, and if there are any I missed. Overall, I'd say this is a very solid generation where most of the Pokemon have some pretty playable cards, unlike some of the other generations. But yeah, and it's mostly because it's a newer generation where it gets more love. But if you go into even newer generations, it probably gets stronger. But we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing. Comment down below any other groups of Pokemon you want me to go over, another generation you want me to go over. But overall, I'm excited to see you next time.